Hey YouTubers, this is Din Mortal, which actually means your mother 12, but that doesn't make sense to anyone. Anyway, I'd like to give you a little review here on the trigger mechanism of the new Marlin XT-22 and the XT-17. I happen to have both rifles. I'm a citizen in Denmark, which is a little country in the northern, or in the southern part of Scandinavia, and the northern part of Europe. For those of you who don't know where it is, it's a small kingdom lying over here, and well, it's we don't have as liberal as a weapon policy as you do in the U.S. naturally, but it's still. I mean, I'm a hunter with a permit, and I'm an active shooter, so I mean, I can pretty much buy the same kind of weapons and the same amount of weapons and so on as you can in the U.S. almost to some extent. Can't buy more than the biggest ones are the 50 BMGs. Those are the biggest ones you're allowed to buy here. I guess you can get them a little bigger over there. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. I want to show you because I'm really happy about these two rifles I have. I have the, as I said, the XT-17 I have is the VLSB, I think it is. It's the stainless steel version with a bull barrel and a Boyd stock with a thumb hole stock. And I must admit, it is a fantastic piece of machinery. I mean, from a quality point of view, I needed to you know, use what is it you call these? No, one of these that take the sharp edges off. What do you call it? A file? Don't remember. Anyway, just to take the short the edges off here and there and so on. But no biggie in any way. I mean, it generally a really nice rifle. I cannot complain. I like the trigger on it. It's a simple trigger mechanism. You can see it here. If you can see it, it's like here's the sear. I'm pushing down on it, and that's the trigger. And when you touch it, it goes off. Oh, if I can touch it, I can't get it to break. What happened? What's happening? I managed to put the safety on. That's why. Anyway, push down on the sear, touch the trigger, and it goes off. However, I mean, since I'm a competitive shooter as well, I want to have a really nice tight trigger, or not a tight trigger, but a light trigger that is really crisp. I mean, I like the full quartzen kind of trigger for the Rugers. I have a Ruger Mark II, which I have tuned with a full quartzen trigger set. I must admit, it has turned fantastic. And I noticed I recently got the XT22. The tube fed version, the TR model, and it's a very accurate rifle. I really like it, and it had the exact same trigger mechanism, meaning it's stainless steel, it's an aluminum housing, and so on. It's the exact same mechanism, despite it's a blurred weapon. What do you call it when it's blurring? It's blurred, not blurred, blurred, and instead of stainless steel, but it's the same trigger mechanism. But I mean, there's a tensioning spring sitting in here, which you can tighten, but or tighten or loosen. But still, I like to polish my trigger to give it that extra crispness, so it just feels like a piece of glass just breaking. And let me show you real fast how it's done. I'll just take it apart and show you what I did, and it won't take long. I need to sit here. Look. All you do is that you take these things apart. You have these small, these small. Can you see anything what I'm doing here? But I'm just taking it apart. There's no big changes in it. Here, that goes. There's the trigger. The trigger goes out. Boom. See? Then goes the next one. I must admit, it's a really simple trigger to take apart. I'm happy that they have not been putting on, small, what do you call those? Like, ribbons instead of like bolts here. So it's you can actually take it apart instead of you having to destroy the ribbon. Whoopsie, here it goes. Just take off everything in it. It's really easy to put back together. So, I mean, as long as you don't lose anything, don't be afraid that you can't put it back together. Look, I'll show you real fast. The trigger actually works that, if you can see here, you have one surface here, and you have one surface right, I wonder if you can see it, right here. And those two surfaces line up like this. So all you need to do is to make sure that that surface right here is really smooth. And I guess it's difficult to do too much about this one. I guess you can take, wonder, that might be the next project, to try to see if I can get that surface even more smooth. But the easy way to do it, I'll show you how. Is first thing I did was to take one of these small stones. It's like this is actually, what's it called? This one is Arkansas made one here. It's like these really fine grinding stones. And I would suggest to take this trigger even more apart so it's easier to work with. So you have this one, you just remove the bolt and it goes out. I'll do it like here. Look, now you have the profile mechanism out of it and the trigger is easy to operate or work with. You put on some lubrication on the rock or on the grinding stone here, and you just gently remove, you know, or not, you don't remove material. Yes, you do naturally, but think of it as I'm not trying to remove anything, I'm trying to polish it, because you want it, it has this kind of surface and you want this surface to look like a mirror when you're done. And then when you think you're a little further ahead, I would suggest you take a glass surface, like now I just have this thing right here, and you take some polishing media. Look, I have something called chrome glazing, so I'll take some of that, put it on, and just gently, you know, polish this surface, and you'll see the white cream, or this quite white polishing media, starts to turn color, starts to become a little more dark. That's because you're polishing off material, and that is fine. It's very little you need to take off, and it also takes time. I mean, that polishing this kind of trigger would take about 10 minutes, I would guess. Now, as you see, the polishing increases. Put on some new media once in a while. Starts to look like a mirror, that's good. Give it a little more. Just gently. Just. And the reason why I'm using a glass thing like this, it could be a mirror or whatever, it could be something smooth, is because glass usually is very smooth. It's usually a smooth surface you have there, and I mean that's what you want to use here. You want to have a smooth surface that helps you polish. How's it going now? Long strokes like this is good. Let's see how it goes. Starts to look good. What I'm targeting naturally is that I want this surface right here, if you can see it. Let's see if I can get it into the picture. The surface you see here, I want to be able to see myself in it. I want to have it that smooth. That takes a little time. That's fine. I don't mind. I mean, you can polish it in many other ways. Just remember, don't remove material, just polish it. That's what you're doing when you're polishing, but you know, it's a hell of a lot less than if you start grinding it. See how it looks now? Now it starts to look really good, really good. Let's give it one last time. And I mean, naturally, it's always dangerous to start playing with the trigger because, you know, it might get very light. Naturally, you can then retighten it with the spring sitting there, but the screw with the tensioning screw there. But I mean, I don't plan to hand over my weapons to anyone else than I am. And if anybody were to use them for you know, boys out shooting or plinking, I mean, they would get instructions. They would get to try the trigger before I would let them shoot it, because otherwise it's wasted shooting. But I mean, just be careful whenever you tune the trigger. It can very easily become very light and people get surprised. So I would say, depending on the weapon, it would be useful to tune the trigger like I'm now instructing how to do. But it's, I mean, I would say on my full quartz, and I probably have a trigger at, what's it at? I don't know, a few hundred grams, 400 or 500 grams, something like it. I like that. But that's naturally for a competition gun. It's very light. I would say this is still for a hunting purpose. So if I could get down around a kilo, which is, 2 pounds, I'll be happy, because I mean, from a factory setting, it doesn't go below about 3 pounds. I haven't measured it, but no doubt it does not go below, because some of my other weapons are, I know for sure, around that age, that limit, and they are at the same level. So what I'm doing now is just removing those small amounts of polishing media that suddenly end up being everywhere where they're not supposed to be. But hey, part of the joy of playing with this stuff. I mean, I like always modifying my own weapons to fit me. I like buying cheap weapons that I can modify to shooting well. But okay, let's give it a last look. If you see this surface now, remember what it came from. I don't know, I'll try to see if you can see it. This is how it used to look. This is the kind of surface it used to have. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a hell of a lot more like a mirror now, and that will help the sear to really just fall off this edge, which is what you want if you want a light trigger. You want these two surfaces to really just be smoothed upon one another, and then give it a little grease and it all becomes good. Give it one last run here. I still like to give it a little more, just a little more. Perhaps I didn't do it that well the first time, but hey, that's fine. This is, I mean, I already did it on the XT22, the tube fit version I have, and I must admit that one really turned out well. I've actually only been shooting this one, the XT-17, a few times with the new trigger. That was because I was at a place where you couldn't shoot that much. It was out in the western part of Jutland, where you're, well, unlike the US, you're not allowed to go shoot everywhere you want to, pretty much. You need to either be at a firing range, or be in a hunting situation, or on your own property, or something like that. So, and your own property has some pretty bigger limitations than it has over in the US. So, let's see if we're there now. I think we're there now. Yep, now I don't do anything more about it. And let's remove this excess. So, good. Now the trick is to put it back together. I need to remove all the last parts of this polishing media. It's all over the gun, or all over the trigger. Where did I put that one? Hi all, I'm back. I went up and picked up Q-tip, because I have this little idea that, I guess I took some baby Q-tips, or safety Q-tips, whatever this is. I have this idea that might be able to give the trigger just a little extra if I do like this. See, I'm taking it and then into the sear. Just very... Oh, it takes off material like hell, it looks. Or not like hell, but it polishes really good. That's what I want. Then That's what we wanted to. We wanted to polish that surface right in there. Yeah? Look, it's really taking off the surface. That's good. You want that mirror look, as I was saying. This definitely helps a bit, that's no doubt. Yeah. Don't want to do it too much. Let's just try to stop there. I'll put the trigger back together so you can see how easy that is done. Actually, I have my barrel out for threading right now. I need to put on a suppressor. So I guess I can't put it all back together tonight, but if you take your rifle apart, you'd notice that this is the trigger housing. It's just sitting on the barrel or on the action housing with two bolts right here, one here with a hex screw. And once you take those off, it trigger mechanism comes off like I've shown you, and the rest is easy peasy, I'd say. Need to get the last of all this grease out here. Or not grease, polishing media. I need to talk in a language you guys can understand. I assume the majority of you guys watching this would probably be from the US. I lived in the US actually for a while. I lived in Georgia. I must admit it was a wonderful time. And I've been working there quite some times as well. Doing different stuff with EPA. And I can't exactly say that was a positive experience. I had to try to certify some European engines towards EPA, and that wasn't too easy. But anyway, that's another story. We managed, but it took a while. Wonder if I should be saying that, but that's anyway the case. Let's look. It really starts to look good now. Yeah, let's try to put it back together, boys. See, the first thing I would do, I would assemble the trigger again. The trigger itself, it looked like, isn't that the right spring, or is it this one? I guess it's this one, right? Yeah, it's this one. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but might not be the best camera angle, this one, but let's try it. Good. Okay. Okay, now we need to, which spring goes where? It's, where the hell is that one coming from? That one is, oh yeah, here. Sits like this. I need to take, see this, yeah, what do you call it? This stud here needs to go under here, and then you need to insert your bolt like this. Put on one of the safety rings here. I mean, it is a bit of a tricky work, but it's okay. It's not impossible. It's not made of the smallest components in the world, so it's doable, no doubt. You should see me trying to take my trigger on my Tangfolio apart. That's a freaking job. I don't know if you know Tangfolio. It's also called ENA, I think EEA arms or something in the US, but it's an Italian product, and it's really good. I mean, it's a IPSC production gun I have, but it's really a nice shooting machine, no doubt. I just want to take these last parts off here. Look, I'm gonna give it a little grease here before I put it all together. And I'm not using oil because oil has a tendency to vaporize and a little easier than grease. I think grease is better to use for trigger mechanisms like this, and this is actually, I don't know if it's based on hydrocarbons, this grease right here, but it's kind of stuff you would use for like flywheels and so on for your fishing gear and so on. It's, you know, acid free and God knows what, but it's good for this kind of purpose, no doubt. And I would say, Okay, so trigger goes up in here. We need to put in this spring right here. I wonder if I can get it in. No, naturally I can't. Hang on. But see, it's, I mean, you should really not be afraid to take your trigger apart. It's the easiest thing in the world, and it's good fun. I mean, it's learning, it's educating. What am I missing now? I am missing. I need to put the trigger on because that needs to sit there. Yeah, that's how it goes. Look. Or not the trigger, the safety. And the safety has this mechanism here. I need to put back on. Not too difficult, it's just a little, you know. You just need to fiddle a bit and then it comes. There it goes. Oof. This trigger is smooth now. Very, very smooth. I like that gun. Then the last of the safety pins on. Why is it not catching? Oh, okay, that's why. I need to put on some tension before it goes in, apparently. You know what? I might have had this one off a bit too much because it's really light. I think I'll do like... Give it a little tension. Yeah, that one's done. I don't have any plans of taking this one off in pieces anymore, actually, because now I've tuned it. That ought to be enough. You'll put this one through right here, put that one back on here, and if all goes well, this is the last time I've taken this trigger apart, unless I really need to wear it out, or I am wearing it out and I need to take it apart again and replace some parts. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I wouldn't buy a new rifle before that. There you go. So, the safety is working again, fine, no doubt there. Look, safety's on, can't touch it. Safety's off, now it moves. And I mean, look, if I put on tension here, on the sear, and I just touch the trigger, I must admit, I mean, it is a completely new trigger now. And that's what's, I mean, look how easy it was. It did not take much time, and it's really gonna improve your weapon a hell of a lot. Naturally, you also touch the safety and the warranty and everything of the weapon, so you can be dead certain Marlin is going to say it's a very bad idea and God knows what, and so on. But I mean, if you know what you're doing and you feel comfortable about tuning your own weapons, I highly recommend you do it, because I mean, you'll have a more precise and a better shooting rifle in the end by doing the simple trick. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, can't say much more. I'll look forward to the coming hunting season. It's gonna be nice to take my 17 HMR out. I must admit, my 22 is a bit more of a plinker nowadays, but the 17 HMR is really sweet for that kind of stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and have a great night, guys. Ciao.